Welcome to the PressBox. Welcome to episode 3 of the PressBox with Keith Gibson. I am the aforementioned Keith Gibson, and I will be your host today, as I am every week. And I thank you for tuning in and listening this week as well. We've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to talk Major League Baseball, what Theo Epstein has a problem with the Cardinals draft picks, what the Cubs and Cardinals both are doing. We'll talk with special guest Devin Johnson, who will be here to talk Danville RiverHawks basketball, a new minor league team starting up here in the Danville area. And then we'll also talk to Jason Wills, who will be here with us to talk Bravest versus Finest in a softball game. Jason, part of the Vet Sports softball team, part of the Wounded Warrior Project. So he'll be here with us too. But let's get started with what's going on around baseball right now after the All-Star break. And the Cubs and Cardinals kind of going in different directions. But the big news coming out this week actually came out just yesterday is Theo Epstein not happy with the Cardinals getting a pick, a competitive bounce lottery pick for a draft in 2013. And Theo was quoted on ESPN.com saying they do extremely well from a baseball standpoint, from a revenue standpoint. It's probably the last organization in baseball that needs that kind of annual gift that they receive. And, you know, I've got to agree with Theo. The Cardinals do well. They have great revenue, great attendance every year. And I'm not saying that the Cardinals don't do the right things as far as an organizational standpoint go, because they do. But do the Cardinals really need a competitive balance lottery pick? I mean, let's be real. I mean, the Marlins, Rockies, Brewers, Padres, Indians all receive picks in round A. And then the Reds, Athletics, Mariners, Twins, Orioles, and Diamondbacks all in round B. Now, St. Louis entered play going in Thursday evening with a 54-47 record, tied with the Pirates in second place in the division in the NL Central, 2.5 games behind Milwaukee. And Theo went on to say, I could talk all day about the Cardinals and how we hold them in a high regard. That's a fantastic franchise. They have been for a better part of a century. And Theo's right. But do they need, I mean, I don't see how St. Louis is rendered as a small market. How they are they low? It's for those with the 10 lowest revenues in baseball. You're telling me the Cardinals have the 10 lowest revenues in baseball? I find that hard to believe, but maybe they do. You know, but I could think of a few teams that have, you know, and there's 10 of them. They just happen to come in there, but you know, we'll see. Theo went on to say it'll just make it that much sweeter when we get to a point where we can compete with them and ultimately, we hope, prevail. And as a Cub fan, and all of you know, I think it's not too far away. Things are progressing rapidly for the Chicago Cubs as far as this farm system goes. And, you know, they are not playing well, but they don't have a good team on the field. And, you know, honestly, they deserve where they're at. But they will get there. They called up Jorge Soler to AAA now, so you got Baez, Bryant, and Soler at AAA. You've got Almora, who's now up to AA. And they called up Alcantara just before the All-Star break, and look what he's done already for him. So, you know, it's something that you've got to kind of look at about the future. The Cardinals, though, are playing well. They're getting great pitching right now. You know, they're hitting the ball. They are, but, you know, they're 7 games above 500. Pittsburgh's making a push. The Reds are over 500, just 1 game, but 5.5 back. And then you have the Cubs, who were, you know, 17 games under 500 at 14.5 back into the division. But the Cubs aren't scoring runs. And let's face it, if you trade Samardzija and Hamill away to Oakland, you get Addison Russell, who was a great pickup in that deal, but he's also a prospect. Will he pan out? Let's hope. But who knows what will happen there. And so the Cubs really are kind of sitting in limbo. They're on the rise as far as prospects and talents, but does that do anything at the major league level? No. The good news is Friday, July 25th, this Friday, today, Cubs-Cardinals start a 3-game set. You'll have Kelly going for the Cardinals, Wood going for the Cubs. Saturday, you're looking at Arrieta and Miller going. So it'll be a fun series. It always is. We'll see what they get. Joe Kelly, 2-1 on the year, hasn't pitched a whole lot. Travis Wood 7-9 kind of had to been the anchor with Arrieta now for the Cubs. So it should be a great series, always is. Doesn't matter how good or how bad either team is. It's always a competitive and fun series. So, that's what to look for in baseball this week. Other news going on around Major League Baseball is David Price. Will he be traded? The Rays making a push in the or the AL East now, And so, they may sit still and not do anything. A deal, Joakim Soria going to the Tigers. That really boosts their bullpen. So, the Tigers, who are playing very well, the trade deadline 7 days away, can Joakim Soria really shore up the Tigers' bullpen? I think that's a great answer, and yes. The Oakland A's still playing very well. The Astros, the Astros. What do you do with the Astros? They're not a great ball club. They're young, but there's a lot to do in Houston, especially when you can't sign the number 1 overall draft pick over a little bit of money. There needs to be something done there. But let's look at the standings right now, and we'll start in the American League East, where you got Baltimore on top, 3 games ahead of the Yankees and Toronto, 7 ahead of Tampa Bay, and then 8.5 ahead of Boston. And who would really think that division would look like that right now? And I'm not one to say it would, because I don't think it would. The Yankees are looking old. Their run differential at -29 right now. So they're 1 game under 500 at home at Yankee Stadium, but they're 5 games over on the road, and they're sitting at 52-48. Toronto at 53-49, 3 games back. They're a team that can score some runs, and were very hot to start, but they've kind of fallen off as well. Tampa Bay, 4 games under 500, 7 games back, but it could be a make or break. These next 7 days will determine whether they're buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. They're 4.5 out of the wild card. If they can make a push these next 7 days, that's a team that probably will be buyers instead of sellers, and David Price may stick around, who is probably the hottest trade target on the market right now. So let's move the AL Central. Detroit Tigers a 6.5 game over Cleveland. Cleveland, the only other team besides the Tigers with an above 500 record at 51-50. Kansas City, who was hot, had the lead there for a while in the Central, now back to 500 baseball, 7 games back, and then the White Sox and Twins at 10 and 11 games back, respectively. Not good baseball in Chicago at all this summer at all, but the White Sox are only 6 games under 500, so playing better ball than the Northsiders. In the AL West, you got the Oakland A's with a 2-game lead over the Angels, who are surging big time, but Oakland, and the big number that people don't realize, their run differential, 151 on the positive side. They have scored 496 runs this season and only given up 345. So getting great pitching, timely hitting. They're sitting at 24 games over 500 at 62-38. Oakland is definitely a team, and now you got Hamill and Samardzija in there, could really, really make this Oakland A team one to be reckoned with in the American League. Seattle 9.5 games back, 5 games over 500, and then Houston and Texas. And I talked about Houston being horrible, 42-59, 20.5 games back in the division, but they're not in last place, people. The Texas Rangers are 40-61, 22.5 games back, the worst record in all of baseball. And so if that's worse than the Cubs, worse than Colorado. It's not a good thing happening in Texas. And run differential, -110, and that would tell you why you're 21 games under 500. So let's move to the National League East right now. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals quietly have a 1-game lead over the Atlanta Braves in the NL East. 11 games over 500. They've really turned it on, and the big thing is they've gotten healthy. The Braves only a game back, made a move last week, let go of Dan Uggla, sent him on assignment, and now he's signed a minor league deal with the Giants. But Atlanta's got some good pitching. Can they stay healthy, and can they sustain it all the way through? Then you've got the Mets 8 out, Miami 8.5, and Philadelphia 13. And you look at that, and you could see some sellers. I know the Mets are trying to move Bartolo Colon. Philadelphia is trying to move a ton right now, but will they pull the trigger? Ryan Howard, I read today, that could be let go at the end of the year. He's owed so much money, over $60 million over the next 3 years in his contract. He could be let go and just released by the Phillies at the end of the year. So a lot of veteran pieces in that ball club just aren't producing, and it's a shame too, because great players and I'm sure great guys too, but if you don't produce on the field, you're going to have things change. And Miami is currently 6 games under 500, but they've got the biggest probably offensive bat that could be had, but in Giancarlo Stanton, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Let's look at the West. It's going to be the National League West. San Francisco 2-game lead over the Dodgers, and that could be a race that we could see really come down the end. That's the only 2 teams that matter in that division. San Diego 12.5 out, Arizona 13.5, and Colorado at 16. Sitting here on Thursday, going into play on Thursday. So, that could be something that is really something to watch as far as San Francisco and L.A. Will either team make a move to push them over the edge? Will the Dodgers land David Price? Will San Francisco go after a bat? What will they do? Matt Cain on the 15-day DL, will that be a big blow to San Francisco? It's something that is definitely need to watch over the next 7 days, and by the time next week's podcast comes up, it'll be definitely something we want to talk about. Wild card standings, the Angels and Mariners tied right now. They'll be the top 2. Well, they're the top 2 teams that will make it for the 1-game playoff in the American League. The Yankees a half game back with Toronto, and then Cleveland, Kansas City 2 and 2.5 back. So you've got Minnesota still 6.5 back, 8 games under 500, but only 6.5 out of the wild card. So that technically they're still in the chase. Then you look at the National League. Atlanta and the Dodgers are the first 2 wild card teams. Cardinals and Pittsburgh a game back. They're tied for second in the Central. Cincinnati 4, the Mets 7, Miami 7.5, and then it really you get into double figures there with 10.5 for and up. The Cubs sitting 13 out of the wild card. And I think it's safe to say that we don't have to worry about postseason play for the Cubbies this year. But who knows? So that's a little update on Major League Baseball, what's kind of going on. It is an exciting time for baseball right now. Trade deadline 7 days away, so it could be a fast and furious set of moves in Major League Baseball, and we'll have all those to talk about, I'm sure, a week from today as we continue the press box. Coming up here in just a moment, we will meet and discuss the new Danville RiverHawks, the new minor league basketball team here in the area, with the owner, Devin Johnson. So stay tuned. We'll talk a little NBA with him, too, and get his take on LeBron James going back to Cleveland and all the other moves that could possibly happen in the NBA. So stay tuned with us. We've got Devin Johnson from the Danville RiverHawks coming up. You're listening to Press Box with Keith Gibson. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Press Box. I'm Keith Gibson. Alongside, got a special guest with me today, and Devin Johnson. And Devin, the owner of the new Danville RiverHawks. Thank you for joining me today, Devin.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
The RiverHawks set to start action this January in the PBL. And give us a little insight about what the PBL is all about.
Well, the PBL is one of the highest minor league basketball leagues here in America. Competition-wise, it's right underneath the D-League. So great competition. We're going to have some teams from all over the Midwest coming to the area to take on the RiverHawks, and even some teams from out on the East Coast. So it's a very highly competitive basketball league with some great backing and great support. And the athletes that play in the league, they're phenomenal. Most of them are looking for jobs, looking for the next contract, whether they've been from the D-League or they've already played overseas. That's the type of athlete that you're going to see in the PBL. And
you're going to have some high potential scoring athletes as well. Guys who can play the ball, not only score, but they're going to see some great defense. You're going to see some great, assist guys. You're going to see everything from tall to small and everything in between. Now, any difference in basketball besides, is there any different rule changes that you normally see between the PBL and say, the NBA or NCAA, or is everything pretty much the same?
Everything's exactly the same. 24-second shot clock. Obviously, all the NBA rules, defensive 3 seconds, all of those rules still apply in the PBL, so they play professional rules, which is kind of different because typically sometimes you see leagues try to go with the FIBA rules, even though it's FIBA America or whatever the case may be. They try to go with the FIBA rules just to make make it a little bit more attractive overseas, but we play NBA rules all in the PBL.
Now, you were originally from the area. Devin, you were a player at Parkland College over in Champaign, Urbana, and your partner is Floyd Brown, who's up in Chicago. You guys originally been up there for a while, moved back down this way, and kind of making roots back here in Central Illinois, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, we are really excited. We've kind of been away here for, I want to say now, about 3 years altogether, about 3 to 4 years. During that time, we've of course, had our life pretty much. Had 2 daughters in between there. Graduated from Lindenwood University in St. Louis. So just kind of taking steps forward, bettering ourselves, and honestly just giving us the great opportunity that we have now to be able to come back and have an impact on an area that's done so much for us.
Now, people are going to probably ask me, and if they haven't saw you or got to know you yet, you're no small man. You stand, what, 6'7", 6'8"?
6'10".
6'10", okay, 6'10".
Yeah.
He makes me look like a midget, But, hey, Devin, we're happy to have you here. Now, fans actually can follow you guys on Facebook to see all the great things that the RiverHawks are happening. It's kind of started now for what, almost 6 months now?
Yep, about 6 months now.
So, it's been 6 months. It's a continuing process. Another 6 months, we'll have tip-off. So, as far as, you got season tickets already available. You guys will be playing at the Palmer Arena here in Danville. And what can they do for season tickets?
Well, there's a few things you can do for season tickets. Season ticket prices, we're actually priced pretty reasonable. Whether you want to sit courtside, you want to sit on the sidelines as far as in the general admission areas, the price is very reasonable. Lowest season ticket price is $54, and it goes all the way up to $135, so very reasonable compared to going to a single ticket-wise U of I game or, a Pacers game. But what you can do is leave a 50% deposit on there. So if you're buying a $54 season ticket, you leave $27 to reserve your seat, and we're going to have a season ticket draft party where you can come. We're going to have a big party, have some food, have a kind of a cool celebration. We'll have our big draft board up with all of the seats in the arena. And we're going to have a draft where you actually draft your seat. And we already have our number 1 pick, so I got to give him a shout-out already. His name is Kenneth Heasley. That's our good friend. He's an awesome guy. He's actually traveling to every ballpark right now in the Midwest to go to baseball games. But he's our number 1 draft pick this year, so we're really excited about the draft.
That sounds like a great time, and there's also, you guys made some partners here in the community, because I know that's one of the big things you guys really stressed your press conference a couple months back. Was you want to make partners in the community, and you've partnered already with the Boys and Girls Club, and who else have you kind of partnered with so far?
We've partnered with Boys and Girls Club here in Danville, so that'll serve as our practice facility, but it's also a dual purpose because since we'll be practicing there daily, it gave us a great opportunity since most of their programming runs after school. We're able to be there every day, do the mentoring with the kids, help them with their homework, run through their after-school programming with them, then go to practice right after that when the club closes. So it's great for that with the Boys Club, but we also have a partnership with a company called Roses for Linda. It's a travel charity organization. So basically, this fall or winter, we'll be selecting some families. Maybe there's a sick or ill relative that maybe you can't afford to go visit. We know how that can be. Maybe you're in Illinois and your relative's in California, and we know how pricey airplane tickets are or how to bring the whole family out there to visit. So they'll be selecting some families this season to go ahead and pay for that trip and give them a donation to go see that relative or that loved one that they're maybe not had an opportunity to go visit. And also my buddy from CalMe's Wellness, we'll be doing some health clinic here days and doing some fit boot camps out at the park and maybe at the Boys Club as well too. And he's a great guy. Just talk about living a healthier lifestyle. So we want to all around, not just about basketball, community, health, life. It's what we're all about. So.
And your motto is "We fly high," and that's a great motto because you're right. You just don't fly high, in the community. Basketball, it kind of circumferences everything that you guys are all about. Now, why I have you here? We're going to talk a little bit of other things too. We love the RiverHawks. We love everything, but I got a basketball guy here. We'll talk.
Okay.
What's your take on LeBron James going back to Cleveland?
I think that was a great move for LeBron. There's not too many opportunities you have to go and play at home. I think if every athlete had the opportunity to go play in their home city, obviously you're a kid, you've grown up watching your team, your favorite team for so many years. What a move for him to go back. And I told people this when this was happening. I think LeBron kind of left there not a boy, but a young man. But now he's going back a man. More educated, definitely more mature. And I think he's ready for the challenge. And it says a lot for someone who's going to leave a situation to go to a situation that may be a little bit tougher, but he knows how important he is in the community as far as the impact, and not even that, the numbers in the economy from him coming back alone. Cleveland needs LeBron.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, and I couldn't have said it any better. I think it was the right move for him, and you're right. As far as going from young man to man, I mean, you can just see it in the speech and his mannerisms and everything since he's signed back. But is it surprising it was only a 2-year deal?
No. With the collective bargaining agreement and how things are kind of shaken up with the salary structure of the league here in a couple years, they're hoping for this big TV deal. The NBA is kind of seeking this multi-billion-dollar deal in TV revenue, which in turn change out as far as the salary cap will go. So it'll rise. So LeBron's a smart man. What he's trying to do is maximize his money while he's, finishing out his career in Cleveland. He wants to be the highest basketball player ever paid. So, which is most likely going to happen by the move he made. But it's not just him. If you look at Andrew Wiggins himself, he signed a 2-year deal himself. So that's kind of the trend now. People want to get closer to that max deal. And if you take a look at LeBron and then you look at Wiggins with the 2-year deal, it looks like Mr. Wiggins is getting some info too.
Will he stay there, though? In my opinion, I think they keep Wiggins, and I think they grow a younger nucleus around LeBron, because people don't realize LeBron's only 31, am I correct?
30.
30. He's 30. Okay, so he's still a young guy.
Yep.
But he's got a lot of experience, and he is the best basketball player in the world, hands down, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. But I think you're right. He made the perfect move. I think Carmelo going back to New York was the right move for him as well.
It was.
Because he can be the center guy there. I'm interested to see where Kevin Love goes if he ends up in Chicago. I'm not a big Kevin Love fan. I think it could be a little soft at times.
Yep.
But, if Chicago needs him, but I just don't see them. I don't think they should give up as much to get him.
I feel like Chicago. Honestly, I feel like Chicago would be making a huge mistake. You're giving up the 6th man of the year. You're giving up your first-round draft pick, who was obviously very lights out in summer league, and you're giving up your best defensive player on your team. So that is a lot of pieces. Maybe not starters. You're not giving up D Rose, but to me, those supplemental pieces are what makes your team great. Not necessarily, obviously, without D Rose, we've seen how important those extra pieces are, like Noah being Defensive Player of the Year, Jimmy Butler, first team defense, obviously McDermott coming over. I feel like he can be a great rookie. And then, with Taj now being 6th man. So I don't think it's smart. Then you have 3 big men. Where does that go? And they're talking about Noah guarding threes and stuff. And I'm like, what?
No, I agree with you totally. I think it'd be a very not a good move for Chicago. I think, you look at that, and Kevin Love does bring a little more offense, but you're going to have Derrick Rose back, who you haven't had really full time in 2 years. So let's hope he stays healthy,
right,
and can get that done. Devin, we appreciate you joining us here on the Press Box this week. We're excited for RiverHawks basketball. We'll be able to catch it, down at the arena. I'm sure we'll be able to catch it on WDAN, VermilionCountyFirst.com, and of course we'll have to have you back in here as the season goes on on the Press Box and enjoy some time with us. So we thank you today very much. Good luck to you. And if if you don't follow them on Facebook, make sure you get on Facebook and follow the RiverHawks. It's at Danville RiverHawks. Get on Twitter, follow them on there as well, and all the social medias as well as me, the Press Box. So get on there, follow us, and you can listen to even more updates we have on the RiverHawks, and we'll keep that going. So Devin, thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, have a great day, and we'll be back in just a moment here on the Press Box with Keith Gibson. Welcome back to the Press Box. I'm Keith Gibson, and joining me now is Jason Wills. Jason, a member of the Finest vs. Bravest game coming up very soon, and a big advocate of the Wounded Warrior Project as well. And Jason, I thank you for joining me here on the Press Box today. And it's got to be a delight. You played in the game last year, right?
Yes, I did.
Now, what all does it entail, the Finest vs. Bravest?
Well, it's a matter of 3 games. It's usually the fire department, the police department. They play each other, and then also the vet sports there that I actually am playing on. They will play the fire department and also the police department. It's a great day. There's a home run derby they have going on in the beginning of the day. It's just the whole atmosphere that day is just amazing.
It's a great, last year was fantastic. The atmosphere there was a packed house. It was a beautiful day, and we hope. And now that's August 23rd, Danville Stadium, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what time's that thing to get underway? What time does it usually get underway?
Doors open, or the gates open at 3 o'clock. The ceremony starts at 5. We will do the home run derby at around 3 o'clock to 5. Between then, they'll have some batting practice going on, It depends. We'll be throwing out shirts and stuff like that. It really isn't a great event. Each year they keep moving up.
And what better way to show the sport for the community as well? You got our own policemen, you got our own firemen from the area, you've got vet sports out there doing a great thing. So how did you get involved with vet sports and getting part of that? Because you're a veteran yourself.
Yes, I am. I got hurt 2003, and last year the vet sports, were speaking to the Jason Donovan, local officer, and said, do you have anybody that is willing to play that's been hurt, been overseas, And I believe in a meeting they said, we're looking for a local guy that can play, and my name was brought up, and as soon as Jason contacted me, first words out of my mouth were, heck yes,
It's got to be an honor for you to be out there with those guys, too. And we do, here on the Press Box, and everybody that listens, I'm sure, will thank you for your time, because you have sacrificed the most ultimate thing for us. So, but how awesome is it to be out there playing with those guys, knowing that they did the same thing you did, knowing that they served their time, and, protecting our freedom, and now they're out there and you guys are all loving it, playing sports together.
The camaraderie with them is just we all have the same story, but it's all different. It's some are amputees, some have TBIs, PTSD. A lot of the guys out there, you might look at them like, they look fine. You look at me and like, he looks healthy. I've battled through PTSD. I'm battling with TBI. It's just, everything helps. This playing a sport,
right?
Any kind of sport, it just
takes your mind off everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's just like, what? I might be hurt, but yet I can still do things in life that bring enjoyment.
That's right, and that's what's the most part, and that's what's so fun about the Finest versus Bravest game coming up August 23rd, Danville Stadium. Make sure you're out there. Make sure you support not only our firemen, our policemen, but our vets as well. And let's have fun with it, And Jason, now what you told us a little bit. There's a home run derby. There's some games going on. How fun is it for you to get in uniform with these guys and play out there? I see the big smile on your face right now. It's got to be just, you get out there, you step in the batter's box. What was your first time thinking last year with that?
Well, ever since, last year when I did this, the smile on my face as soon as Jason asked me to play, it never stopped. My smile lasted for at least a month and a half easy after this is all gone. It was just, it's hard to explain the feeling I had doing this, because showing people that you can fight through anything. It's hard to, like I said, hard to explain in words how it felt.
So you guys get new unis again this year, I take it? Are you keep the same unis, or?
Well, I'm not sure. They have new uniforms this year. I just play when they come here.
That's all right.
Hey, I'm willing to play anytime they ask me to. So but no, I might not. We're not sure yet. But hey, I'm not worried about it. I'll wear the old one.
There you go.
Fine with me.
Now, what's it like? I know a lot of guys like myself. I've been to Danville Stadium. I've been on the field, but I've never actually got to play any type of game there. You being a local guy from the area, gets a chance to go out there and play actually on the field where, I mean, it's a legendary field. There's been a lot of guys who have played pro baseball. You look at Jonathan Papelbon, played for the Dans. He's been on that field. Guys have been on that field and played major careers and had great careers. You're out there just like them on that field. What was it like stepping in that batter's box for your first time and thinking, holy crap?
I hope hit the ball. That's all. I was just hoping to hit that ball. I was like, man, I hope I don't strike out. I don't wear that tutu.
That's right. But you're back out there again this year, and what's the one, if people are kind of seen it but aren't sure whether they want to go or not, what's the one thing you could tell them that really just kind of sticks with them and that says, okay, I want to go, I want to see this? The money they give at the gate, where does it go?
This year is actually going to the memorial that they're having for the Desert Storm, everything for every the conflicts that's happened overseas over there. It's a conflict that's going to be on, or the memorial will be on Williams and Hazel, I believe. There's a sign up now, but that's where the money's going to go to this year. Each year they come up with a group of, this is who we have here that the money can go towards, whether it be cancer patients or whatever it may be, or, and they just felt that this is where it should go to, and it really is. I mean, I hope everybody comes out there and just have a good time. I mean, it's free to get in. I mean, it's...
Well, and that's the great thing. It is but you also not only show support for the firemen, for the policemen, for the vets that are out there playing, but now going out there and helping support all this helps support a memorial for the guys who did serve overseas in Desert Storm. And so you're helping 4 groups right there by going out and supporting one night.
Correct. I have to say, I've been on the meeting groups for the memorial, and we have some pretty good ideas and some. It's going to look great once it's done,
and I'm sure it will, without a doubt. And Jay, you've been playing softball all summer?
Yes,
I got to play with you a couple times. I'm usually here at the station, or I'm getting on the podcast, or I'm doing something. I'm always constantly busy, but it's fun out there. If you haven't even got to see some slow pitch softball in a while, you need to get out there and watch, because it's fun. I'm looking forward to August 23rd. Jay, I want to thank you so much for coming in and joining us today on this podcast. And not only do I want to thank you for that, I want to thank you for your service. Thank you for being a friend. Jay came in spur of the moment. I called him this morning. Hey, what are you doing this afternoon? More than happy to come in. We're going to promote this big time for you, too. We're going to help you out. And we want all of you who are listening this week to come out August 23rd. 3 o'clock, gates open. Come out and support the Finest vs. Bravest at Danville Stadium. Jay, thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you for having me here. I really do appreciate it, and anytime.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be right back with some final thoughts here on the Press Box, and we'll wrap things up for this week. You're listening to Press Box with Keith Gibson. Keith Gibson back here on the Press Box for episode 3 as we wrap things up today. What a great show. We've talked a little Major League Baseball. We've got the community involved with Devin Johnson of the RiverHawks, and we've gotten Jason Wills of the Bravest vs. Finest. We want to thank you for joining us this week. Hey, if you got any questions, comments, let me know. Follow us on Facebook at the Press Box with Keith Gibson. Follow me on Twitter at Keith_Gibson13, or you can follow me on my blog, too. Follow my blog and let me know what you think about that. This week we talked about the Illini. Are they bowl-bound with the football season coming up? So let me know. Keith Gibson on the Press Box. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Hello, you play to win the game.
Yeah! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives!